everyone, Miss Carrie here. I'm going to be working with the Circle Frames die set from Trinity Stamps. This includes multiple circle dies that are perfect for creating layered designs. I'll also be bringing in the Simply Sentimental Sweet stamp set. This set is great because it has some big bold words in different fonts, smaller companion phrases, and matching dies so you can cut out everything easily. Of course, I will be using a few of my go-to supplies like the Cardmaking Essentials die set and some basic cardstock. Remember, you don't need to use the exact items I'm using. Feel free to grab what you already have in your craft stash. If you want a full supply list, I have linked everything in the description below, along with my affiliate link to the Trinity Stamps shop. Let's go ahead and get started with the project. We're going to use these circle dies to create a boho style rainbow. I've already chosen a few colors of cardstock that work well together. Since we're cutting multiple circle shapes, I'm going to cut out extras so that I can build more than one card. This way, I'm getting more use out of my time at the die cutting machine. I want to explain to you how these circle frames actually work because it's important for building the rainbow. Each die in the set cuts two shapes at once, the circle frame and a solid circle in the center. So if I cut the largest die, I'll end up with one big frame and one solid circle. If I move to the next die size, the same thing happens. I get another frame and another circle. But here's the catch. There isn't a die that gives you the in-between circle band that you'll need to connect the two sizes. That's why I'm layering several circle dies together before I cut. By taping them in place and cutting all at once, I can create those perfect continuous arches that will stack together to form the rainbow. As I mentioned, I did tape all of these dies together with some temporary tape. Once these have run through the die cutting machine, I can just move the entire group from one cardstock color to another without having to realign everything. This makes the cutting process go so much faster. I'm going to continue cutting these out and show you the rest of the items we need for the card. I cut a panel with the Cardmaking Essentials die set. This gave me a piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now that I've decided on the order of color, I'm going to flip these over and line them back up. And then I'm going to add a strip of double-sided tape on the back. The double-sided tape is going to hold all of these pieces together while I trim it with my paper trimmer. You could also use some clear tape or temporary adhesive to hold these in place. Now you want to make sure that your paper trimmer blade is nice and sharp when you cut these. A dull blade could leave a rough edge or catch on the edge of the cardstock. Once I've cut this in two, the rainbow is ready and it's already looking super cute. For the sentiment, I'm using the word sweetest from the Simply Sentimental set. I'm going to cut out the word from the same dark blue cardstock that I'm using for my back card layer. This is a great tip to save paper. To make it stand out, I cut a shadow layer from white cardstock. This is going to help the word pop off the page. I'm also going to heat emboss the sentiment that says, "You make life," so that the final message reads, "You make life sweeter." Again, I'm just going to use that background cardstock because the portion where I'm cutting out the sentiment is going to be hidden by my top layer. All right, now we have all of the pieces for our card. I'm going to adhere my background panel to the dark blue cardstock base. Don't worry about those die cut holes on the back. You won't even see them once everything's glued down. I'm going to place my sentiment down first so that I can make sure that it's centered on the card and that I leave enough room for the rainbow to sit above. I'm just going to layer the letters on top of the shadow pieces. Now I did choose a white cardstock for my shadow, but you could also use some vellum and make it look almost like clouds. You could also skip the shadow layer if you wish. All right, I'm going to adhere my rainbow above. And then I'll bring in my little sentiment. I'm just going to set this right here in the center. And now our card is complete. You could leave your card just like this. It's simple and pretty on its own, but I always like to add a few extra touches. I cut out some flowers and leaves using the Garden Flowers die set. I'm going to build a little white daisy with these layers. I love the stitching detail on these. I'm just going to place this flower here in the upper right, and then I'll tuck some golden leaves around it for that soft boho vibe. I'm also going to bring in a little heart that I cut from the tiny bandage set. You probably have a heart die somewhere in your collection that you could use for this. I'm just going to tuck this right here behind the sentiment. It's just a fun way to add a personal touch to the card. I'm going to finish this off with a few little embellishments, just some subtle gems with a yellow undertone, and they're going to bring a little warmth to this design. Here is our finished card. We created a boho rainbow with the circle dies, paired it with the sweetest sentiment, and leveled it up with a daisy, a heart, and some gems. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on my next video. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.